I just memorized this part where I go, hello and welcome to another episode of Munster Hunters, the only show that dares to, I don't know, I guess blow up a television in spite of it, instead of watching the streaming network. We'd rather blow up our own TVs than do that. Does that make sense? Nah, because we're doing hello and welcome to another episode of Munster Hunters, the only show that dares to shun millions of hours of original streaming content because we want to revisit a 50-plus-year-old sitcom about a giant Frankenstein's monster and his grotesque family. My name is Derek, and I am a Munster Hunter. Joining me at the Munster Hunter table, as always, is Keith. Keith, how's it going?
Hey, it's Keith. I am also a Munster Hunter.
It's going great. And then opposite the table is the Dr. Dre of Kansas, one of the two good things in Kansas City, Kansas area, Metro land.
Yep.
Terry, how's it going?
Oh, it's going grand. I've been shunning all other streaming services. I have been crossing them off my list one at a time, waiting for them to be destroyed, but this hasn't been very effective so far.
You vowed to eradicate all streaming services, I believe.
Yep. I think it's important for everybody to own a DVD copy for every single piece of media they watch, and I think it's important.
You need a physical copy.
That's right.
How else would you own the content?
It's the way of the future, honestly. Discs.
This is the past. The way of the future is the past.
Exactly.
And what better chunk of the past than the Munsters? Season 1, Episode 10, Autumn Croakus.
I think it really seems like it's the Munsters in general, not just Episode 10, it's a perfect picture of the past for us, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's very accurate, I'm sure.
It's a time capsule. And I don't know if you remember a few episodes ago, I said, I think the Munsters are going to hit a groove. God damn, was I wrong.
What?
It's like they have hit a groove, Derek. It's just not like the grooviest of grooves.
It's not the groove I was hoping for. I thought they were going to hit their stride. But we're 10 episodes in. But before we can talk about Autumn Croakus, we need to do something very important. We need to go to the bookshelf, pull off the tome, leather-bound, dust it off, crack the spine on the Munster Hunters Almanac for the Munster Hunters Almanac factoid tidbit snippet of the week. Oh, God damn it.
It got dusty here.
I was pausing. I was slowing it down so you'd have time. I was out of
town, and for some reason there's dust all over it now. And I don't know why. Nothing else in this room is dusty except that.
It takes a long time to get it like that.
Takes a lot of work. There's some cobwebs on it too. When you open the door, kind of have to force your way through a bunch of webs.
Asbestos. I guarantee they're asbestos cobwebs.
Yeah.
Only the best.
All right. So this week,
they put the best in asbestos.
Yes.
It took me a second to get that. Sorry. All right. Yeah. Anyway, this week I thought I would just, I don't know about you guys, me and my family, we love to play board games.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring up the fact that between 1964 and 1965, there were 4 different Munster games available.
That whole year?
Between 64 and 65, yeah.
For the time
so
between
over
that
so over
span.
2 years they put 4 different things out. There's a card game in 64, and then they put out a couple of board games in 1965, which I looked them up on boardgamegeek.com. And
high ratings.
There's a 9 for Munsters Drag Race game.
Wow.
There's an 8.3 for the Munster Masquerade Party game. And then there's a 3 for the Munsters Picnic game.
Oh, that doesn't sound like fun anyway.
Yeah. Those are all released in 1965. I think the thing is that people got a little bored with them because each and every game seems to be the same. It's a very simple. So the first one here, Munsters Drag Race, 2 to 4 players, 20-minute playing time, ages 7 and up. It's basically a simple roll and move mechanic driven by a spinner, propels cardboard stand-ups of the Munsters TV show characters around the track. Very rare and highly sought after by collectors. Yeah. So I got that. And then they put out the Munster Masquerade Party game, 2 to 4, 30-minute time, ages 6 plus. Party fun with the Munsters, extremely rare and highly sought after children's board game. The Campy 60 TV show, roll and move game. On some spaces, players may lose turns and move back. When they land on pick a party card space, players must pick a card, read it aloud, and immediately follow directions. That could be a sing-song, dancing, or imitating animals. If they fail to comply, they lose their next 3 turns. First player to move from start to finish wins.
Okay.
And then the picnic game, basically just this is a roll and move game. On some spaces, players may lose turn, move back a bit. First player to move from start to finish, players must spin the exact number needed to win. So that's the only change up there. But according to, it's the Munsters going and having a picnic is what the picture of the board was, and then the pathway goes around it. And then the one other thing in 1964, the Munsters card game, 2 to 4 players, 20 minutes. There's no age mentioned on this.
8 to 80 is my guess.
Yeah. It's a 4-player game. Everyone's dealt 10 cards. Put 1 card face down in a yellow space. And basically, if you matched like these other cards that get turned up, then that's how you would get points to move. Not to move on, but that's how you would gain points to see who would eventually win. If your marker is placed on some certain combination, you get the owner collects the 4 cards and gets 10 bonus points.
Nice.
Scores are added up once all the cards have been used. 1 point is scored for each face down card in front of the player. 10 points are scored for each Munster combination. Player with the highest score wins.
Okay.
So I think this seems to fall right in line with what a lot of games that would have come out after TV shows, during that time period. I was just shocked to see that there was like 4 in such a short period of time, but they were striking while the iron was hot.
If you've got a copy of that picnic game, you can get like $3,000 for it on eBay.
Oh my God, really?
Well, at least you can list it for that much.
Well, I've got 3 of them sitting right here. No, I'm just kidding.
Keith, that's retirement.
Yeah. No, that's our Patreon. That's what it is. No. I don't think I've ever seen any of these games anywhere before, but I should check my dad and stepmom. They have a lot of older games in the basement of the house.
They're sitting on old Munster games. It's like
sitting on a lot of old games. I should check and see if they have a Munsters one. But that is our Munster Hunter Almanac factoid note sheet of the week.
Oh, note sheet of the week.
Note sheet.
Love it.
Okay.
Man, I wish we had a copy of these and we could all gather around and play that.
I really wish we could. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Sitting on the deck of a ship as we cruise out to sea, killing time, playing Munsters Picnic.
I have an idea of where we might find one of these games. At the bottom of the ocean.
At the bottom of the ocean? Well, we better get on our scuba gear then so we can take a deep dive and look for it down there.
Yeah, right next to the opening to hell, there's a copy of
The opening to hell, corpses.
Yeah,
I think they were dead people last time we did this.
Mhm.
There's a Meg floating by. Yeah.
And Meg. Oh, that's right.
Yep.
The corpses look like they were playing the Munster drag race game.
It's probably what killed them.
Yeah.
Not the Meg, just the game.
No.
Hell is tempting us with this Munsters game. Will we fall for it? Will we fall into the portal?
Oh, what if it is like some sort of deep sea creature that has evolved and it has like a dangling thing on the front of it, and it's the Munsters board game for people like us doing deep dives, and we go up to it and then we just get eaten.
Just got a little card of like Herman Munster making a goofy face on its dangly bit, just like, hey.
Oh, it's lighting up. Oh, it's so dark down here, but the glow of that Munsters card game.
Glowing red eyes. Oh, okay.
It's very tempting, but what we will find down here is the director of this episode. Lawrence
he's
Dobkin.
dead? Keith?
Well, yes.
I'm pretty sure he is. Pretty sure he is. Not in the past week or anything, but no, back in 2002.
Oh, yeah. It's been a few
Do you
years.
really have that at like that quick to look up? Keith.
I have this open on
He's got
IMDb
the
in front of me. All I had to do was click his name and it shows up.
Yeah,
I mean,
but man, that's extra work.
I have fast. It's literally click the mouse over the word that says Lawrence Dobkin sitting in front of me here.
Oh.
I'm looking at the IMDb page for the episode.
Okay, well,
Nope.
Yeah.
He's down here. Yeah, and he's having a grand old time. He's directed a few episodes of the Munsters. We talked about him last time even. He's an actor and a director, and I was looking through some of his acting work this time just to see if anything stood out to me. And I guess he was in the remake of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, if you guys have heard of that. The old silent film.
I do not know it.
They remade it in 1962.
Was the remake still silent?
No, it's apparently it's totally different and nothing like the original.
Just the name. Yeah.
Yeah, they just kind of kept the name. And the director of that movie even disowned it, stating it was very different from what he had originally made. But his final cut is in the Museum of Modern Art, apparently. So it exists. Yeah. So, This episode was written by James Allardyce, maybe? Allardyce? I don't know. And Tom Adair. James Allardyce has 38 writing credits on IMDb, going from 1953 to 1967. He's actually written 9 episodes of the Munsters, and he has a story credit on a couple as well, and a teleplay credit on one. And he also did 11 episodes of My Three Sons. But he's been a playwright, and he actually studied the subject of playwriting at Yale University after World War II. So
he's what do they call it if you go to Yale? A Yalean? A Yalean?
A Yale-mite?
Yaleamite. That's what it is.
It is now. That's all I'm saying.
So yeah, this guy, he went to school for this, and yeah, look at him now.
Dead. Didn't make him immortal.
No, it did not. Made him down here in the bottom of the ocean with all his other friends. Tom Adair, he has 35 writing credits on IMDb, going from 1950 to 1978. He was primarily a songwriter, actually, but I guess he was kind of a partner to James in writing. He would help write like music for some of the shows that James was working on, but he also helped writing a lot of the scripts, and he's actually credited on the same Munsters episodes as James was, and the same goes for the My Three Sons episodes. He's got 38 soundtrack credits on IMDb, and a couple of the songs that he's known for were used in a lot of TV and movies. That are called Everything Happens to Me and Let's Get Away From It All. They're kind of like old, fun, big band jazz tunes. And I guess, they've been covered over the years hundreds of times by different people. Charlie Parker did a cool version of Everything Happens to Me. It's pretty nice. I found it on YouTube if you're interested. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And guest starring. So, once again, the debate... I'm starting to have a bone to pick with these people who write down who the guest stars are for these episodes. Because... in my mind, Linda Watkins, the person who played Lydia, like the main side character that's not a Munster, would be a guest star.
I think she would be the only one I would call a guest star.
Yes, exactly.
Other ones
but
are
no,
like bit roles. Yeah.
she was not listed
What?
on the sites I looked. Yeah, but I added her into my roster here. So guest starring is Neil Hamilton as Malcolm, which is like Lydia's boss in the episode. Richard Reeves as the first policeman. He got listed as a guest star.
Yeah.
He shows up
He
at
did
the
have a lot of
end.
talking there at the end, but as much as Linda
Did
Watkins.
Jerry Mann get listed as a guest star? Because like IMDb doesn't even have a picture for him.
No, I didn't even see his name. Yeah.
I bet you something real, like they couldn't think of, they didn't know who he was. They're like,
Jerry
Jerry
Mann.
Mann?
This is
Okay.
Jerry. He was a man, right?
Yeah, all right.
Mm.
Jerry Mann it is.
But yeah, and Linda Watkins, she wasn't listed, but I threw in. She played Lydia in this episode, and she's arguably the biggest co-star in this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, not sure why she wasn't, but that's all right. So yeah, Neil Hamilton, he played Malcolm. He has 163 acting credits on IMDb.
Recognized him the minute I heard his voice.
I was gonna see if you guys did. His biggest role was as Commissioner Gordon in the '60s Batman TV show.
Yep.
And he also starred in a bunch of movies from the 20s and 30s, including Nick Carraway and The Great Gatsby. And he was also in a couple of Tarzan movies from the 30s.
Oh man, was he Tarzan?
No, he was like the hunter guy, I think, whatever his name was. The movies were called Tarzan the Eighth Man, and the sequel was called Tarzan and His Mate. So,
Creepy.
yeah. So yeah, he's a pretty big deal. Yeah, I recognized him too from the Batman show, so that's cool to see him. Richard Reeves, who played the first policeman, has 237 acting credits on IMDb. That goes from 1943 to 1967. He's mostly a TV guy. He's been in 2 episodes of the Munsters. This one, and then there's one that we haven't seen yet, so get excited. He'll be back.
Oh, I can't wait. Does he reprise the role of first policeman?
He does not. He is a totally different man.
Damn it.
Because he was awesome as first policeman.
Yeah, he was. He
Iconic, I
totally
would say.
embodied that role.
He's known for playing like kind of gruff henchman types. He was in the '50s Superman TV show. And he was also,
I knew him from something.
he was also in the '60s Batman show for an episode. He played a character named Shifty. Oh wait, no, that was in. Sorry, I got that confused. He was in
Classic Shifty.
He was played Shifty in a Superboy TV movie.
Damn it.
Oh,
He was quite the DC guy. He was in a bunch of stuff.
He was. Yep.
And he was also in a Tarzan movie from the '50s called Tarzan's Hidden Jungle. It's not related to the Neil Hamilton ones.
was he Tarzan?
No, he was a very small character.
He was the hidden jungle.
Speaking of not hidden jungles, Linda Watkins, the main co-star of this episode, had 75 acting credits on IMDb, going from 1931 to 1974. She was in a few movies in the 30s, but there's kind of a gap after 33, and she returned to television in the 50s. She generally did the kind of one-off parts on a lot of TV shows. Some of the notable stuff that I recognize were like My Three Sons. She was on Bonanza, and she was on a show called A Girl from Uncle, which I guess is a spinoff of A Man from Uncle. I'd never heard of the spinoff, but I've heard of the original. And yeah, she started out as a stage actor, and I guess that like gap in her IMDb was because she decided to kind of stick with theater for a while, but eventually she did decide to pursue TV, and that's how we got her in this episode.
I'm curious if there's at like some point in time, is there just like, do they have a list of people and they're like, all right, we're just gonna rotate you through all these shows? Like it's just did so and so make it on this? Because like a lot of these people show up on many of the same shows as like just side characters, like one-offs, whether it's My Three Sons or the Munsters or Batman. Looks like she was on Emergency for a little bit.
Yeah.
She's on Bonanza, but she's not a huge recurring character over and over and over. Even like she's on The Untouchables, but it shows here she's 3 different people.
Yeah.
But and I've noticed that with some of these other people who play the side actors in these episodes is that they all show up on the same shows.
Yeah, like I know we've had a bunch that are on the Red Skeleton Hour. Like I think a bunch of these people have all been on that. It's kind of weird. I wonder how that works. I guess they just need new fresh blood in the mix, and they're like, all right, you're next in line. Let's get you in.
I bet you there was something to do with the networks. Like if you were on one show on a network, you were on every show on that network.
Oh, that probably makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your connections, work for one person.
I don't know. I wasn't around at the time, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
That's just my guess.
Makes
I
sense.
wasn't around.
But if you look at her,
she was in the original
IMDb,
Parent Trap also.
But she wasn't in a whole lot of movies, if any, maybe a couple. Everything else is TV, right? There wasn't a whole lot of crossover like there is now, where movie people would do TV shows and vice versa.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was still a big thing in the 90s when you like left TV to do movies. Like it was a graduation of some sort.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, there's always been, there's like a wall there. Yeah, where it's like,
whatever.
You got to climb the wall to get to movies because that's like the bigger deal, I guess. But nowadays, I don't think it's quite as big of a wall.
I think people prefer doing TV now.
It's more of a fence. But yeah, that's all I got for our deep dive. If we want to slowly, climb back to the surface.
Don't
late. Get tempted.
I'm already bobbing on the surface. Eyes are bulging out of my skull.
But what's he got that in his hand? Is that a Herman Munster playing card? Oh my god! With it.
It's very cool. That was the deep dive. Captain Terry took us to the depths of hell.
Captain Terry.
Captain Terry, yeah. It's
wow. I've just got promoted. Am I just hearing
Terry
about
in
it
the deep
now?
Dives. His band, his Munster themed band.
Yep, my merry men who come with me.
All right, you guys ready for this? Season 1, Episode 10, Autumn Croakus. It has a very peculiar name.
It does.
Right? Well, last one was like Touch Wood, Here Comes Charlie, or something like that.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, Here Comes Charlie.
Yeah.
Or just knock wood.
Knock wood, Here Comes Charlie. This one's called Autumn Croakus. It gets a 7.5 on IMDb, which is high.
That's not bad, yeah.
Whoever makes these synopses, they really like to put in all the details, get real granular with them.
Here's the whole script for you in our synopsis.
I'm just do the first two sentences here. Grandpa wants to marry again because he's feeling lonely. He looks for a fiancée in a matrimonial agency. Sums it up right there. And then hijinks ensue. Right?
Yep. Classic Munster brand hijinks ensue.
Oh boy. This one's got it all. It starts out with rain. And Lily's standing at the front door. It's what a beautiful day. She smells that rain falling. And you're just like, oh God, here it goes. Herman, where are you? And I'm coming. And the stairs open. I mean, he doesn't come down the stairs. He comes out of the stairs. I don't know where that leads to. Do we have any idea?
That's a good question, because I always thought it was like his bedroom or something, but no, because we see him sleeping upstairs with Lily most of the time.
I always remember, like, my main memory, is that Spot shows up out of there every now and then, but that also seems to be where he pops out during the intro every single time. So I don't know. Maybe he's got a man cave. I don't know.
Oh, he's got his own separate bathroom because he's a Frankenstein monster. He takes massive dumps. So
they are known
that's
for
probably
that.
That's probably a smart move. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. So he comes out of there and he's like, I got it all. I couldn't even close the lid. It's so full. Do you got a potato salad and pickles? Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Like very typical Munster items. Potato salad and pickles.
Nasty.
And then Grandpa comes in. Ooh, where are we going? Blah, blah, blah. He's all excited, right? Because he's got to horn his way into everything.
Oh, yeah.
And Lily and Herman are like, well, we're going to the beach. Peace.
Yeah.
Like, wait, can't I come with? Me too. He's like, sad Grandpa.
Yeah.
And they're like, hell no. You suck. Pretty much.
He has been pretty mean these last few episodes.
All you want to do is bury yourself in the sand.
Yeah, you just bury yourself in the sand. You don't even like the beach, Grandpa. And so they leave.
Now, what I'm hoping is that somewhere down the line, we get the same exact open again, but instead it follows Herman and Lily to the beach.
Yes,
you want to see them at the beach?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there that doesn't happen, which would be a far more entertaining episode than what we got.
But yeah, I mean, this was like the most of your like, oh man, I wish they would have followed that plot a little bit further. Is Herman and Lily are going to the beach, and it's just a setup for Yeah, Grandpa's lonely.
Grandpa's grouchy. Yeah.
I want to see meat, potato salad, and pickles. That's got to be something in its own mind.
Oh, yeah.
But they should use that exact same opening again to save on budget. And just the show just continues on to the beach, and like whatever's happening with Grandpa back at home, that still happens or whatever.
The same minute 10 of film that they used for this opening.
Yep. Yeah, but it's just they head off and it's a whole second adventure that they can get out of just this one episode.
They didn't though. No. Instead, we have Grandpa staying at home. Well, I'll get Eddie and Marilyn to play checkers with me, and then Eddie's like, well, no, Marilyn's out on a date, and I'm going to go play with a kid. But Grandpa's like, ooh, which one? Like he's got one picked out or something.
He's very excited about that. That was weird. Yeah.
Eddie's like, I don't know. I haven't caught him yet.
Because he's a wolf boy.
That's creepy, though. That's really weird. He's got friends. We've seen him.
Eddie feels like the most normal one of all of them. Like, sure, he hangs out in cabinets and stuff, but he seems to have like normal relationships with children and.
But he's gonna go capture one. He's got friends.
Yeah.
Go over to Melvin's house or Elmer or whoever, right?
Elmer,
or your robot. I mean, you should fix that by now.
Yeah, you got. Oh yeah, the robot can hang out with you.
It's also the perfect way for it to be like, all right, that's the screen time he's allotted. Now he has to. Contractually can't be on screen anymore,
pretty much. He's gone after that, isn't he? I'm trying to think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see if he comes back. Eddie leaves. Grandpa is dejected.
Yep. He is
Who
really
needs
bummed.
A lonely, sick old grandfather. That's what he says. And then Igor comes in. He's like, yes, my trusted, faithful bat. And even Igor has a date.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He has no heart. He's just a rat with wings.
What about the Invisible Man?
There's an Invisible Man to play checkers with. So Grandpa, he says, when is someone going to pay attention to an old man around here? And the clock says,
nevermore.
Yeah, and then Grandpa goes after the clock. After that, he's like, I'm gonna show that clock what for. But he gets the paper, which is a thing, and he reads it, and there's an ad for Kindred Spirits Matrimonial Agency. Very, very convenient.
Yes.
And Grandpa's like, oh, a wife? Why not? He's talking to himself. No one else is home, so no one will think this is weird. Wife, why not? It sure beats burying yourself in the sand. And then we get the intro.
I'll admit, initially excited about this premise. Grandpa dating people sounds like it would be very good.
I was like, oh man, Grandpa and a normal, non-Munster woman.
Yeah.
All right. So we get the banger, still bangs, nothing changes. Keith, any further insights?
No, they're sticking with it. I'm hoping in season 2 we get some kind of change up.
I think we do. We get a whole new intro in season 2.
Ooh.
It might even be when Beverly Owen leaves and Pat Priest comes
in. They had to make a new one.
Might change for that.
Yeah. Still did it all in one take though, and then called
probably.
It a day,
Yeah. We come back from the banger. Marilyn is sitting at the breakfast table. She's sitting at the breakfast table, right? Breakfast. It's like the Munsters thing, right? Grandpa comes down and he is like, ba 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 da ba. He's singing the wedding processional song.
Yeah. At first, I thought he was singing the Munsters theme, and I was about to blow my mind.
Yeah. He does like the Munsters theme blended into the wedding processional.
Mm-hmm.
It's a medley of sorts.
Ooh,
but he is on cloud 9.
Hold on. I'll be honest. I'm sure there's somebody out there that has used the Munsters theme as their wedding processional easily.
I hope so. And if you're listening, send us a video.
Oh, yeah.
Then he gives Marilyn a kiss on the cheek. And she's like, oh, you're in a good mood. And he's like, well, that's because I'm going to get married, goddammit. He's like, he's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to venture. But he said like this really long-winded thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to venture out into the realm. Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I'm getting married. To who? Yeah. Don't know. But Marilyn is very happy for him. Oh, that's great, Grandpa. She's like so excited.
She is very excited. I mean, once again, like weirdly over the top excited about something in this episode.
She's super happy that at least somebody's having like a decent romantic life and not her. I mean,
that's true.
She's hideous to look at and all. And,
Yeah,
but she
just
always
had no
happens to
luck.
have a date, so it's good for her. Go
Yeah.
get it, Marilyn.
Mhm.
So Herman and Lily come in. Marilyn tells them the good news. Grandpa's gonna get married. Blah, blah, blah. Grandpa's got a girl. And Herman, Grandpa, you haven't been setting out those traps in the park again.
That was awesome.
I told you before, it's not neighborly.
Oh.
So Grandpa has been known to set girl traps in the park.
And those
No,
weren't for
that's-
becoming wives, I guess. Those are for something else.
Not good.
That's what Eddie's maybe that's when he says he hasn't caught somebody yet. He's been taking after Grandpa on the
Yeah, I don't know.
using some of his
yeah.
traps.
But Grandpa's like, no, you idiot. I have a fiance. He is he's a fiance. And Lily's like, well, what's her name? And Grandpa's like, I don't know. I just wrote to the matrimonial agency yesterday. Herman, pissed. He is not pleased with this.
Mm-mm.
He thinks it's disgraceful and not befitting a Munster. We are not like the average people in the community, he says.
What?
I know. Lily called him a snob. It's like, you're such a snob, Herman. He's like, what? People look at me. Watch me on the street.
I
I have
that.
an important image to uphold.
That was
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah.
And then Grandpa calls him a stuffed shirt, which gets a laugh because why? He's a Frankenstein's monster,
Yep,
which
that's
is
exactly
essentially
right.
just a stuffed shirt.
I do want to use that line though on people.
Stuffed shirt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, quit
You can
being
use
such
it whenever
a
you
stuffed
want.
shirt.
Okay.
That's why I'm gonna try to fit that in my everyday usage.
Yeah, bring it back. That's a good
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wet
Yeah,
blankets, stuffed shirt, all sorts of stuff.
yeah, don't talk fresh to your mother was another one in the earlier episode that I liked.
Mhm.
That's these monsterisms that I need to bring back.
Yeah. And Eddie wasn't even talking fresh. I can't remember what it was. It's like
Yeah.
something very non-controversial.
He was like, I'm sorry, sir. I just didn't want you to know I
Don't
failed.
talk fresh to your mother.
Yeah.
So Herman says that Grandma would be turning over in her grave if she had one. And then he does this like collection of weird faces. It's like,
Yeah, he's kind of like perturbed by this whole development. He is very against grandpa dating.
does not like it.
Now, is this the same grandma in the previous episode when they're like, "Oh, she'd be rolling over in her grave," or "She won't leave you money the next time she dies"? Things. So this would be the same
Or
grandma.
is it the same grandma that had the girdle?
Oh, the giantess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We don't know. Every episode, there's a different grandma, which I guess works because he had 137 wives, right?
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows? So then we cut to some time has passed, apparently. Grandpa is opening a letter and pulling out a picture of his new fiance. It's a glamour shot. It's like a headshot used to get work in Hollywood
Yes.
of an attractive woman that is his new fiance. Marilyn says she's pretty, but not as pretty as Grandma. Right? Okay. And then Grandpa says a woman like Grandpa only comes along once in a lifetime, every 300 years.
So is that his lifetime? 300
I guess he lives for 300 years.
He
reads the letter. Her name is Lydia Gardner, and she was very impressed with this picture. And then Herman comes from work, back from the salt mines, which, you know, he didn't really work in a salt mine, but I guess that's one of those turns of phrases, right?
Yep.
He's out toiling in the salt mines while they're at home reading letters from mail order brides. So Herman comes in, and he asks, was there any mail for me? Nope. Sorry, Frankenstein. No mail for you, which is the name of an album.
Also, he looks
No.
very upset that he didn't get any mail. So I'm like, wow, what was Herman waiting on?
Well,
Another
yeah.
side plot of something he thought he was going to get some mail.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I wanted mail.
His Columbia House subscription was supposed to be showing up, and
Yeah.
it wasn't there yet.
Yeah, my new Field and Stream should be here. Or I guess it's the Munsters. Field and Scream.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So, but Grandpa got his reply from the matrimonial agency, and Herman hopes Grandpa doesn't answer. He's like, this is dumb. You're an idiot. Why are you doing this? Grandpa, I think, thinks Herman's a bit jealous. I couldn't tell what Grandpa's angle was here, but Herman's pissed. Grandpa's like, yeah, what do you like? like there wasn't much there. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Herman does seem like a little unreasonably upset about this whole ordeal. I don't really understand why. He's like so put off about, first of all, Grandpa ever dating again.
Yeah.
And hates the idea of like the male romance thing. He's not having it. He's just being a grump this whole time.
I don't think he was against him dating. He just thought it was weird that he was using the mail order bride service or whatever it is instead of like actually. No, he thinks that Grandpa should meet somebody the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, well, I mean, Herman says it. He's like, I don't like the whole romance by mail thing, and he says Grandpa's too old to be playing post office, which I thought was like kind of a funny innuendo. I like that. Instead of playing doctor, you're too old.
Like a modern version of this is Grandpa gets on Tinder.
And an even less modern version would be like, you got mail, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Yeah, you got mail. And now it's Tinder.
I saw that
Grandpa on Tinder. Ugh. Somebody swiped. Is right the right direction? Swiped right on Grandpa. But Grandpa says he has much right as anyone in this house, and he's inviting Miss Gardner over to see them all. Herman, not pleased with that either. And he says, like, you think she's going to really fall for you? And Grandpa says, if I bring a young, impressionable lady over and I expose her to me, he says like this very weirdly worded. If I expose her to me, what do you think will happen?
At least he didn't say if he exposes himself to her.
Yes, thankfully he didn't say that.
It was very weird. Weird choice of words he used. Yeah.
Grandpa has all sorts of weird words in this one, like weird sentences for him. Herman's like, whatever, just do it while I'm at work. I don't want to meet this woman at all. And I'm noticing this is like a big thing. Like every episode when like a normie comes around, Herman's always gone, right? Except for the few, like the gas man, Herman greets him. But usually Herman is like, nope, I'm out. Or Herman's went to the store, or Herman's out of this picture, because it's going to set up someone seeing Herman for the first time.
Yeah, they're always saving him for like the big scare. Look at this freakish man. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yes, this big freakish man who goes to work every day.
People see him on the street. They look up to him.
I mean, I don't know how far away work is, but I mean, even, the Munster coach is going to stick out if he's driving himself to work, or if the invisible man is driving him over to work or whatever.
I bet you
or if he's taking public transit. Yeah, even more so. It's like people make it seem like they've never seen him before. And I'm like, he's around all the time. He's around town. Yeah.
He's at Ralph's buying milk. So there he is. It's just do it while I'm at work. Lily's like, I don't get it. It's like sometimes I think you have no heart at all. And then here we go. Don't be silly, dear. That was the first. That's what they put in first.
Because he's a Frankenstein monster,
right? They had to be assembled, and they put in his heart first. Not the brain, but his heart.
Obviously.
I'm still a little confused if there's a brain in there or not. But
it's like a walnut size. It's like a dinosaur brain.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have found a better brain first, and then they could worry about the heart later.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, we cut to it's raining, and Miss Gardner is coming to the door, and she is hesitant because the door is just covered in shit. There's just like cobwebs galore, and it's gross, and it's raining. And if past episodes are to be believed, it's only raining over the Munster household.
Yeah. They've got some sort of weird temporal effect on the weather.
Yes. And if we're also to believe past episodes, it's due to Grandpa. Remember? Nice weather. Thank you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yes. I forgot about that.
He takes credit for the rain.
Yeah.
But nobody who comes into the house is ever like, what the fuck is going on?
No.
Like, it was sunny at the end of the block. Now all of a sudden we're here.
Marilyn answers the door, and I'm going to assume that Miss Gardner is relieved to see Marilyn. Right? Oh, shoo. She clears out the cobwebs. In comes Miss Gardner. Let's have tea. They want to have tea in the living room. Grandpa is dying to meet you, which they bring that up quite a bit. He's dying to do something all the time, and he's already dead. So whatever. Miss Gardner says something like, I love this old house. It's a testament to the old building that you left it as it is. And Marilyn's like, nah, nope. It took Aunt Lily and Uncle Herman years to get it like this. But then she says they could only work nights, which got a laugh.
Look, Herman's busy at the salt mines.
No, well, here's the
during
thing,
the day,
though.
the parlor.
Right? They're always talking about, well, Eddie's going to have to go to bed before the sun, while it's still dark outside. Right?
Yeah.
It implies that they're up all night. Herman works during the day. And sometimes has a night job as a wrestler or whatever.
That's true.
They watch TV at night. Later on, we'll see them, they sleep at night.
We see them sleep a few times throughout the episodes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now, just to get a laugh, they can only work at night. You know why? Because they're a vampire and a Frankenstein's monster. And the freaks come out at night.
The creatures of the night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. What was that guy's name?
Vincent Price.
Vincent Price. I wanted to say Herman Strange, and I knew that was wrong.
No,
knew it was 100% wrong, but that's what wanted to come up.
That sounds like a future episode of the Munsters, though. Herman Strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this might be my favorite part of the episode. They come around the corner. I think Lily steals the show a few times in this episode. They come around the corner, and Lily's standing there with a candelabra, and she's got a very disturbing look on her face.
Yes.
She is just amazing.
I've been watching, some of these old Universal horror movies, Dracula, the sequels, Frankenstein. She looks that look she was given was very menacing and looked like it could fit right in with one of those old movies. I was like, oh my god, she is actually really scary.
Yeah, Lily has a few moments in this episode, and I love Lydia Gardner goes, "What's that?"
Yeah, she thinks she's seen a ghost or something.
Yeah, no, that's just Aunt Lily. And Aunt Lily goes from a tense posture to kind of relaxed.
Yeah, what was she doing before? I
don't know.
Lydia came in.
It was very funny though, I thought.
Yeah.
She was hoping to get the candelabra in place before anybody came in. And,
got caught red-handed with a candelabra in hand. Yeah. So Miss Gardner composed herself, comes in, and then she compliments Lily I love this part. You have such a ethereal beauty or something like that, something out of this world. And Lily goes, "Thank you." And she makes this crazy eye look, and I loved it. Her eyes bug out of her head. Thank you. She really loved this compliment. It was great.
That was weird, but I like that. Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
And now it's time for tea. Cream or lemon, Miss what's her last name? Sanders? Lydia, whatever.
Oh, Gardner?
Gardner, yes. Yeah. Cream or lemon? Cream, she says. And Lily pours a cup of smoking liquid that looked like cream. Right? Right into the teacup. And then she pours some tea into the smoking cream.
Mm-hmm.
It's peculiar at best. I wonder what would happen if she would have said lemon.
Same thing.
Liquefied lemon just poured down.
Just a smoking lemon, and she pours some tea over it.
Yes.
Then there is an explosion.
Real quick though, before we get to it, I think it's at this point that she actually refers to Grandpa as Dad.
Oh, right at this explosion, she goes,
"Yeah,
that's just Dad."
And I think that's the first time in any of these episodes that she's referred to him as Dad and not just Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know that's her father, but she doesn't ever use anything other than Grandpa throughout the whole thing.
Nope, that's just Dad. He's such a show off. And she's like, "Dad?" Lydia's like, "What? You have a father?" Which is weird. I don't know, because she's here to see him. Right. And she's like, "Prepared to be impressed." And then that trap door flies open, and there's a ton of smoke. And then Grandpa just shoots up from the basement and goes, "Voila!"
Yeah, it's quite the entrance. I had to think that was pretty funny.
He's gonna expose her to him,
Yes,
way to do it.
Yeah, she's exposed. All right. Now, Grandpa acts very weird from here on out into this scene.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Lydia, my dear, did I frighten you?" And she's like, "Yes." Good. And he's really like a weirdo creep.
He's so creepy.
And
Yeah.
he spins around and like does like a pose. Like, well, what do you think? She's like, I think you're magnificent.
Yeah.
Also, I don't believe in long engagements. She's very forward. Grandpa then grabs her hand and they're doing like this weird hand game. Did you notice this?
Yes.
Like, Grandpa's got her hand and they're like playing footsie but with hands.
That was weird. That made me uncomfortable. I did not like watching.
Yeah.
I thought Grandpa was just being so creepy with his hands. Yeah,
it
it
was
like
just
grabbing.
being creepy in general.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I mean,
yeah,
it was almost like their version of, like in any of like the vampire movies when like, the vampire meets the young lady and he kind of like hypnotize her a little bit. It's like, but it's the Munster version of that, which came across as like a weird like mating ritual or something. I don't know. It's what it reminded me of. Like he's doing that like little dance type thing. He's taking her by the hand. He wants to give her a tour of the rest of the house, and she looks very uncomfortable about being taken anywhere.
Yeah, but so he's doing that weird hand thing, and then Lily is like, "You need to stay with us." And it's like, why? And she's just like, "Okay, I just gotta get my stuff." But Grandpa, I want to show you around the house first. So he's taking her, he's pulling her by the arm, and it's just all weird, like so peculiar. And he pulls her off. And they leave. And then Marilyn says to Lily, and Marilyn, once again, the voice of reason, the skeptic of them all, I can't quite put my finger on it, but that woman seems strange. And then Lily, again with another scene stealer, goes, doesn't everybody? And her eyes bulge out again, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But it's like, then you'll get used to it. I have. But like, doesn't everybody? The way she said it was awesome. So then we cut to the front door of an office, Lydia Gardner Enterprises, a nonprofit organization. And I wonder if that a nonprofit organization was supposed to be funny. Like, people will denigrate nonprofit organizations as like scams or whatever. But well, there's got to be a scam if there's no profit involved. Blah, 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 blah. But seriously, nonprofit organizations are not scams. But Lydia Gardner is Enterprises, and then inside is Commissioner Gordon on the phone. He's got a letter, and he says, "Kindred spirits matrimonial agency, Malcolm speaking." And he's like, "Oh yeah, we got your letter," and something like some other like a credit rating or something. I can't remember. It's like your Gardner and your Davis and Malone rating. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, did you get the last will and testament and something else that he had to fill out?
Oh yeah, that's there, but it's like we got your letter and your credit score. Fundamentally is what it was. And so, yeah, we got the girl just for you. It's Lydia Gardner, and you're like, dun dun dun, something's up. And it's like, it's gonna be another week before she come out to the coast. There's a funeral. Blah 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 blah. Just make sure you fill out your insurance form, last will and testament, leave it blank, have it notarized, all of this red tape mumbo jumbo. And then in comes Lydia, and they're in cahoots, and I think they're married. Maybe they're definitely.
That's what I was wondering as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, "Oh, baby, come here, baby."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "How's the latest husband to be?" And she says, "Perfectly dreadful house, but he'll be a pushover. Looks like he has 1 foot in the grave already because he's old. He's already dead. As a matter of fact, he's a vampire.
He's got both feet in there."
Yep. And then this is the part that blew my mind. This one will make 5 men married and morgued in the last 3 months.
Yes.
How have they
Married
not
and
been
morgued.
caught prior to this moment? Particularly since they're running an ad in the paper for their services, which get you murdered.
And her name's like the company.
Yeah.
And it's only but that's only the last 3 months. I mean, who knows on that? They got file cabinets there.
Yeah, they do have file cabinets. So Lydia says she's found a way to streamline everything, combine the funeral and the will reading, cuts a day off. And he's like, "That's brilliant. How do you think of these things?" And then she doesn't answer him. She goes, "It's simple, really. All you need is an attorney that plays the organ. That's not how you thought of it. That doesn't answer the question.
No, but it's an acceptable answer for me. I'm fine with that.
It's almost like they forgot to edit that part of the script.
No, it's a purposeful misdirect, I think.
Yeah. So Malcolm gets the picture, Grandpa's picture, and goes to file it in with the letter. Let me file this with the letter. And then he goes to the cabinet and the file cabinet labeled husbands. Filing cabinet. And there's a going cabinet, another going cabinet, and a gone cabinet. And Grandpa's in the gone cabinet already.
Yeah, they're counting him dead meat right away, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, if somebody were to walk in, I mean, they're not even hiding it.
No. They're very open about their fraudulent and murderous behavior. So he's like, Gag, this looks like Poochie Dowling. I'm like, Poochie Dowling, that must be somebody. Keith, look it up.
No,
don't you think it looks like Poochie Dowling? Isn't this Poochie? They said Poochie Dowling a ton. And she goes, oh, you mean the way he looked when I pushed him? I mean, when he fell off his yacht on our honeymoon cruise? No, I mean more like a week later when they fished him out of the water, right? So she has been involved in at least one missing husband that got fished out of the water.
Yes.
So you'd think she would have been questioned at least once.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought this was like, okay, so she's finding really old people, waiting till they die and then taking all this stuff. But no, she's literally murdered somebody.
She's murdering them.
Yeah.
Yes. Cut 2. Lily gussying up the house with cobwebs, and she's humming. She's very happy. Grandpa says, oh, you need to stop fussing. Lily wants to know why he's so grumpy. It's all this paperwork. Getting married ain't what it used to be. Thought it was just going to be a blood test, and I was looking forward to that. Because it's blood. Yep.
Yeah.
It's his blood, though. It's a blood test, which are not fun. You got to go get your finger pricked, and they got to pull blood out of your finger.
Oh, see, I thought he meant he would be testing her blood, like as like a taste test.
No, blood test. Figure out the blood type and stuff, I guess.
Hold on. So if that's how they did in the old days, then there's on record someplace that they're like, yeah, this guy's a vampire because this is old dead blood in him.
Yeah. His blood type is V.
They probably have that doctor checking that we've seen a few times. He's probably the one that checks his blood. And
Dr. Dudley comes
easily.
In. Wow, this giant penguin needs a blood test. Oh my!
This is like penguin blood, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Sure,
it's penguin blood. It's so rich and fish. I don't know. So, Grandpa says Lydia is worth all the red tape, and they're going to end up being sweet and cozy as two little bats in a cave. Then Herman, back from the salt mines, he says it again. I'm back from the salt mines.
It seemed weird to me that he said it twice in an episode.
Yeah, like he didn't change it up. It's like back from whatever, the grindstone. But Herman's back. It's like, oh, fresh weeds. Do we have company? Yeah. Grandpa's playing coy, but this is so stupid. More like a close relative. Like Grandpa, like he's acting really dumb. Like he is so smitten with this woman that he had never met prior to like the day before or same day. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time has passed, to be honest.
And all he really wants is someone to hang out with him. Like,
yes, he wants someone to play checkers, and
because
Eddie was
one
busy
day nobody was available.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the rest of the time they are always there.
They're always at the house.
They're always willing to put up with his shenanigans. Besides that one day,
they always include him, except for this one time, and it was really they were looking out for him. You don't like the beach. All you're gonna do is bury yourself in the sand. Just stay home.
Yeah, like the first episode we saw, he he moseyed his way into this party. He was definitely not invited to.
He forced his way to that party. He's always included himself.
Yep.
My grandpa's like all coy. More like a close relative. What do you say, Lily? And she's all like, oh. But she's like, Lydia's in the kitchen, and Herman, his mail order bride is in this house. He's very upset.
He's so mad.
Very upset. I'm never meeting that woman, and I'm putting my foot down right now. And he puts his foot right down through the floor. And this next sequence made me chuckle because he struggled to get his foot out of the floor. And then once he does, he goes, "Oh, darn!" He's very upset at the fact he put his foot through.
Yeah.
And then he kind of just stomps off all like, "Ugh." And I really enjoyed that for whatever it's worth.
It was pretty good. Yeah, usually he just like bangs his hand on like a desk and shakes the house, but this time he like did some real damage to their
He was
their
so
home.
flustered. Then he goes, "Oh, darn." So Grandpa says, give him time. Lydia's going to be around for a long time. Herman's bound to run into her, right? Oh, so much obvious foreshadowing, right? It's like it's not even as coy as Grandpa with the more like a close relative. It is just so hit you over the head.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to Lydia is like setting the table and she made some food. Kitty's
chips
there.
and salsa?
Yeah, she's made some chips and salsa, like pita bread and hummus. I don't know, something with avocados, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There's the black cat in the kitchen, Kitty, and Grandpa and Lily come in with all of this paperwork. And then she says, and I really thought this was going to be a joke, but it wasn't. She goes, nothing like a little bite before dinner. Because I'm like, they're both fucking vampires. I thought this was a joke. Nope. Nothing happens with that line. And that's an alley-oop, too. But they let it go. Lily goes to get some of the food, and Lydia freaks out. No, that's made special for Grandpa. The cat hops on the table, tries to get the food. Lydia tries to shoot the cat off. The cat growls like a lion, of course.
Yep.
And then Lily says, the kitty is like one of the family. Okay.
It's been a while since we've seen this cat, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like first episode, I think.
Yeah.
So Grandpa takes the cat. Lydia and Lily walk off, and she can't get over how charming this house is. She's commenting on the antiques and how expensive they must be. And Lydia's like, well, not everything's an antique. Take, for instance, the electric chair. That's something Grandpa picked up at the prison surplus store.
War surplus, prison surplus.
Yeah. There's a prison surplus store that has electric chairs in it.
I just got a bunch of those, extras laying around. So
Grandpa's very frugal.
Yeah. I'm picturing like a blister pack, like an action figure, and they're like all up on like one of those pegs, just electric chairs. I'll get one of those.
Take one.
It's not even plugged in.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Lily is like, well, where's your husband? Oh, Herman had a headache and had to retire early. One of his classic headaches or something like that. And I was like, oh, I didn't know he had classic headaches. And then she's like, do any other family members live here? And Lily goes, now they're all dead. Oh, they passed away? Lily pauses, goes, no, they're just dead. I guess that maybe the Invisible Man's a ghost? Is it?
Maybe he's just a ghost. Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Of a dead family member. So Grandpa wants to show Lydia to her room, and Lily suggests the guest room. And then she says, oh, wait, it's on the sunny side of the house. Will that be okay? Yeah. And then
Classic.
Lydia says, I want to call you Poochie. Like, she's like, you remind me of somebody I lost. Can I call you Poochie? I don't know what it is with this name, Poochie. But whatever.
I looked it up. I didn't see anything.
Nope. It's just a name. So then we cut to Kitty jumps on the table, knocks over the food that was made, and then it ignites. It like catches on fire. And that's the last we see of it. No one comes in and goes, oh no, the kitchen's on fire. Or, oh no, something burnt was on fire, but now it's out. Or, weird, this food was flammable. Nothing like that at all.
Nope. Perfectly normal. Yeah.
Nope. The house doesn't burn down. No one mentions it. But the cat knocked it over, caught on fire. Totally reasonable within the world of Munsters because lots of stuff smokes and catches on fire. Marilyn does say, oh, I just don't trust that lady. There's something about her. And Lily says, you're too critical of people. And this is where Marilyn goes, Lily,
okay.
you're so ingenuous. And they walk into the room, which I later learned is the kitchen. I couldn't tell where that door went to before, but it goes to the kitchen. Now, we cut to, this is when it all goes down. Lydia is sneaking out of her room with a box. Don't know what the box is. Do we ever find out what the box is? I don't think so.
No, some sort of trap, I guess, or
it's holding an item in it, at least one item in it later, because she opens up, takes something out.
Oh, okay.
So
she's got this box.
There's a roller skate in it, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, great. So she's got this box, and then we cut to Lily having another one of her moments because she sleeps on her back with her arms crossed, holding a flower, a lily. She wakes up, but she doesn't just open her eyes. She does that weird sit, like rising from a coffin vampire sit up.
Mm-hmm.
She rises up out of the bed and wakes up Herman. And then she says, it's too quiet. The shutters have stopped squeaking. And then Herman says, Lily, you're always not hearing things.
That line. Who cares? Yeah, come on.
You're always not hearing things, Lily.
Come on.
Yep. Go back to sleep. So Lily sleeps with that flower. She goes back to sleep. She lays back down. Lydia is down on the phone. So she knows how the phone works. I don't know how you would know.
That's impressive. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a very complicated mechanism.
Yeah.
To use.
Phone is hidden in the wall in a coffin. You have to pull a cord to release it.
Okay, but see, I'm thinking that maybe because in a little while, we'll hear Herman complaining about the phone. I'm thinking maybe the phone was actually left out.
Maybe, but it's possible. Who knows?
Yeah.
So she's on the phone and she's talking to Malcolm. Commissioner Gordon, I made the old boy an avocado Mickey, but he didn't take it. Don't know. Whatever an avocado Mickey was, it was supposed to light him on fire.
Yeah.
Which isn't much of an accident.
Yeah, that seems like something that someone would definitely want to investigate.
Yeah. She definitely wasn't at that party in episode 1 or 2 when
where
Grandpa
he ate flames.
Yeah,
that was
flaming oil. Yeah.
So she says, I'm going to arrange the accident right away. And this is her plan. She said she's a heavy sleeper. She told him she's expecting an important call from her sister. So Malcolm needs to call back in 10 minutes. And when Grandpa goes to get the phone, slip, slap, slide, slippy, slip. She said a bunch of words, right? Crash, boom, bam, flickety flam. What a great plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Foolproof. Yeah. This woman has not been caught yet, somehow. Mm-hmm. And this will be the 5th husband she's married in more than 3 months.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Foolproof. So we come back to Herman. He can't go back to sleep on an empty stomach. So he gets up. It's like, I couldn't eat dinner. And everybody just talked to themselves in this episode. I couldn't eat dinner with that woman. So he goes to get a snack. And then Lydia is sneaking back to her room. So they just meet each other. And then Herman's like, the phone's out. And he blames Marilyn. It's like, darn teenagers. Which Marilyn is not a teenager.
Yeah, she's like a college kid, right?
At least she's a 20-something.
Mm-hmm.
At least. So Herman is, they haven't passed yet because Herman goes to get the phone. We cut to Lydia is in the kitchen and she's getting grease from the kitchen. A big can that says grease on it. Good for her.
As we all do have in our kitchens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cut to Herman putting the phone away, blames teenagers. Cut to Lydia and Herman. They just miss each other. They're passing ships in the night. Herman gets in the kitchen. He gets one of those pie scoopy thingies. What are those called? Like that triangle for cutting pies and getting pie slices out of a pie dish.
Yeah. But the one that he's using looks like it's more for putting on cement instead of.
Oh yeah, it could be a trowel.
Else. Yeah.
Possibly. It's either a pie trowel or cement trowel.
Okay, first of all, I don't think it's called a pie trowel. But you were going through you went through the whole thing of it's one of those things. The pie, it's trying to use the cut to the.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't think of the other word. I'm like, yeah, well, it's something. You're immediately, you're like, oh yeah, trowel.
Well, I know that
boom,
word.
That was right
I'm
there.
troweling stuff all the time. I don't eat pie as much as I should. So he gets the pie scoopy thingy and he sits down. Cut 2, Lydia putting a roller skate on the stairs. This is her accident. This is what she's going to cause. Roller skates, not even marbles, but just a roller skate, big skate.
One lone skate, yeah.
Yep. Cut 2, Herman pouring a glass of milk. Cut 2, Lydia puts grease on the banister. Cut 2, Herman spreads peanut butter on some bread using the pie trowel. Cut 2, oh wait, Lydia's doing something. Cut 2, Kitty growls and Herman picks it up and is like, whoa, let's get you outside with some milk. So Herman takes the cat out back and puts the whatever. And then cut 2, Lydia comes back into the kitchen and sees Herman's sandwich. She grabs the pie slicer thingy out like she's gonna use it for something. I don't know what. An accident, I guess.
Steak
and then
Grandpa.
She grabs the sandwich, which is a weird choice in my opinion.
Yeah.
Why would you grab a rogue sandwich?
Mm-hmm. That's a sign that there's somebody up and about with you. Yeah.
And weren't you just in there to get the grease? And none of this was there.
No, and she doesn't think anything of it. She's like,
also, I get the whole concept is let's get them to keep missing each other throughout the whole thing. But why did Herman have to take the cat out of the kitchen for the milk?
Well, I think that's a thing. You got to put the cat out at night. Remember the Flintstones would always put the cat out at night?
That was a saber tooth though. No, I don't know. It just seemed weird that he didn't just grab like a little saucer out of like the cabinet and said, pour some there on the ground for it. He actually takes it outside, and I get it. It's just because they need to continue this little cat and mouse game they got going on.
Kitty is an outside cat, and Herman's gonna put Kitty out there. Right? Mm-hmm. Makes sense. That's why we haven't seen Kitty, because Kitty's out in the weeds, literally
out there hunting, roaming, doing what,
helping Eddie catch things,
lurking around the barbed wire fence. Yeah. But anyway, Lydia grabs a sandwich, puts it in her mouth, like doesn't think anything of it. Oh, weird sandwich. I'll eat that. Very Homer Simpson-esque. And then she grabs the pie thing. She leaves. Herman comes back in, sits down. We've seen this joke before. He's like, I'm going to eat this sandwich. And then the sandwich is gone. He doesn't even bother to look at any point prior to going to grab the sandwich to confirm that the sandwich is still there. Because why would you? You're the only one up.
Doesn't notice his trowel is missing. Just the sandwich.
Nope. The sandwich? Oh, where's my sandwich? He looks upset about it. Lydia sneaks by the stairs, putting something else on there. I couldn't tell what it was. Herman comes out of the kitchen and then goes upstairs. He steps on the skate, and you're like, oh, he's going to fall. This is where it all... And he crushes the skate, and I like that. He just crushed it into dust almost. It's like flattened.
He's got some powerful feet. We saw, yeah.
Yeah.
He just crushes anything in his path if he puts some force into it.
Oh,
now, the week before, though, he stepped on, a skateboard and actually slipped and fell.
Oh, that's
Episode
true.
previously, wiped out on a skateboard. Episode now, crushes a metal skate. No problem.
Maybe he got some upgrades. Maybe they replaced his feet.
Yeah. So he crushed that skate and goes upstairs. Then we see Lydia. She's pulling a chest out of a room. It's not even her room. I thought it was her room at first. Nope. She's just wandering the house and fucking up shit. So she's pulling this chest out of her room. Herman goes into his room, and Lily's sleeping. So Herman's like, I'm going to wake her up. So he starts rolling his fingers on the dresser to wake up Lily. I don't know why.
Why is he doing that? I don't understand, yeah.
I don't know. He's really upset. So then we cut to Lydia is making a tripwire at the top of the steps. Like, just tying a string across the top of the banisters and then ties it to the suit of armor. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And she's like, this is the perfect accident. No one will ever suspect me.
Yes.
Like, this is such... It's comical how obvious of a setup it is, right? It's almost a Rube Goldberg machine that she is going to say is an accident. And we've seen Grandpa sleeps all over the place in previous episodes. Hangs upside down by the kitchen, but she knows he's upstairs in a room. Whatever.
I mean, he could fly down and would never touch anything. Also, then, so if it does work out the way that she expects it to, like, does she think that she's gonna like be able to hop up quick enough and like clean up the tripwire and wipe down the grease and move the other thing back and all before anybody else shows up?
Like, no one's gonna notice any of that mess. Also, they're not married. I don't understand how she thinks she's gonna get all this stuff.
But that's a good point.
It's an accident. It's all set up to be an accident. No one will ever catch her. Makes sense.
Well, he signed a bunch of paperwork. So even if they're not married, he signed a will and testament type thing.
That's true.
Which she has, all her stuff was already signed before he even got it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I guess she's just assuming that as soon as he's gone, that's a legal document already there. Oh, look at this! I've got everything now.
Anyway, this plan foolproof. No one will ever catch her. Cut 2. Lily wakes up. Can't you be quiet? You'll wake the dead. Herman says this house is very strange tonight. He can't even eat my own sandwich. Lily says, you should have had dinner. And Herman says something like, I can't eat with strangers. Herman's always doing something with strangers in the house. He just does not like weird people at his house. He can't sleep with strangers in his house, blah, blah, blah. And then he says something. He's like, I'm like a stranger, an intruder in my own home. And Lily says, well, this room is reserved for my husband, Mr. Intruder, or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Herman decides he's going to sleep on the sofa. Fine, I'll just sleep on the sofa. And he grabs his pillow and his blanket. Cut 2. Lydia's sneaking back into bed. She grabs her journal, opens it up, and then makes a slash for another dead husband.
Yes. Not suspicious.
So full of hubris. She can't even wait for him to die before she marks him off. Then, and it's a 5th slash too, so it's 5 in 3 months. Herman walks out, and then he says, why should I sleep on the short, lumpy sofa? I'll sleep in the guest room. And this, for the first time ever, the canned audience didn't laugh. They were worried and scared. I'd never heard this before. Like, it almost made me think that there was a live audience there because it was totally different. They're like, oh, they were gasps. And they're like, oh no. They didn't know what was going to happen.
Die, yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to fall down the stairs with this trap.
Yeah. But this is where it blew my mind because Lydia's room isn't downstairs. It's upstairs. The guest room is upstairs. Yeah. Because Herman doesn't go down the stairs. He just goes down the hall. And he gets in the guest room, and then he gets into bed. Doesn't notice a person sleeping in it, which is bizarre. And Lydia, who was just there seconds earlier, with a light on, marking off her book, is sound asleep. She doesn't even move when Herman gets in bed. So it's like very peculiar.
So it's one of those comfort mattresses. It's set they can set each side differently.
Yeah,
you never notice.
Yes. Yeah, you can break it. You can stand on an egg. Put an egg on there and crush it, and it won't break.
He could bounce on it, and the egg will not pop off the thing.
Herman's the bowling ball. She's the glass of wine. Never spills.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, bowling ball and a glass of wine.
So, but she doesn't even move. She was just less than a minute beforehand. Lights on, marking off another dead husband.
Maybe
now
she
Herman's
is a heavy
in here.
sleeper. Yeah, maybe she was lying.
Asleep. The phone rings. They both get up. They see one another and scream. Now, Herman squeals almost. He was like, ah, ah, ah. And it was kind of funny, I thought.
Yep, I agree.
But Lydia runs out of the room real fast. And then you're like, uh-oh. She trips, steps on the skate, trips on the wire, falls down the stairs. The suit of armor falls down. Lydia hits the bottom of the steps, and this is where her plan would never have worked because she gets up and runs out the front door. It didn't kill her. Yeah. It wasn't going to kill Grandpa.
That's a good point. I did not think of that. Yeah, but we literally get to see her trap in motion, and it was easily recoverable. She got up and ran out the door.
It entirely happened in real time with her, and she's like, I'm out. Peace. So she runs out, and then everyone is yelling at Herman, right? It was
That was his fault.
Yeah. Everyone's yelling at Herman, what did you do? It's like, nothing. She looked at me, screamed, and ran off. I didn't do anything. You scared away Lydia, blah, blah, blah. There's a knock at the door. It's the police. Marilyn answers the door. It's the police with Lydia. Police are like, we got her, and she confessed to everything. She's the Black Widow gardener. Your grandpa wasn't the first man she tried to marry just to get his dough. And she's a swindler? Oh, she's the queen of all swindlers.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what
she
the
goes and
hell?
Confesses immediately? Yeah.
Yeah. So they picked up her accomplice, Commissioner Gordon. And then Commissioner Gordon said that she'd be here. So they got here just as she ran out the door. Very good timing. And then she immediately confessed. And then but there's also going to, and she says you've got a monster in there. And Marilyn's like, that's ridiculous. It's just my family. And because Marilyn answers the door, they're like, of course, it's just your family. You're an attractive young teen, apparently. Weird. And you have a normal, not monster family.
Yeah.
That's everyone's thought. Oh, you're normal. Your family aren't monsters.
Yeah, that's what I think when I meet normal people.
Yeah.
She's just trying to set up the insanity plea.
Yeah, that's I like that. Oh, she's just trying to build up an insanity plea, which I thought was very interesting.
That's a good tactic.
But then she is thanking the police for catching her. She's like, I couldn't face him again. She is so distraught because of Herman.
His face is traumatic, apparently. Like, one look and it could break your mind into pieces. Yeah,
terror, pure terror. Cut back in. Grandpa heard it all. It's like, oh, so Lydia was just trying. Like, then he has to like wrap it up. Oh, so she was just trying to kill me to get my money. Herman. Then Herman says, "I told you." Like Herman, it's like, take that, old man. You can't be too careful. When you think of some of the people running around loose in the world today, it's frightening. Credits. That's it.
That zinger I thought was a little bit better than the usual. Not amazing.
No, not amazing at all.
But at least it pertained somewhat to the episode. Yeah, I don't know. It was okay.
It wasn't a good zinger.
No, it wasn't.
It was a zinger befitting the episode.
Have any of them been good zingers yet?
Not a one.
No.
Right.
No.
What'd you guys think of season 1, episode 10, Autumn Croakus?
All right, so first of all, I really enjoyed seeing Malcolm, the guy who eventually plays Commissioner Gordon, and it's very fitting because this seems like this could have been a Batman plot. Lydia Gardner tries to seduce Bruce Wayne. Things go wrong or whatever. And the thing that I have a problem with here is it wraps up really quickly. Oh, we caught her accomplice. He said she was here. Like, it's done in a heartbeat. This would have been a perfect, so Grandpa, he's supposed to be dead. He's a vampire. This would have been a great 2-part episode where, it all sets up where she thinks Grandpa's dead and she's gotten away with it. And then the second episode being the whole thing unravels and, Malcolm gives her up and all this stuff. I just thought it wrapped up just so way too
very
conveniently.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. I mean, as she take off, it's just, oh, no, we actually already caught the other guy. In the middle of the night, you guys caught him and he said to come over here. Like, what?
Yeah.
Were they staking out his house? So I have an issue with the fact that this could have been so much more of an episode, especially when you consider you also have that we could have seen Herman and Lily go to the beach.
Oh,
that should have been the episode. Herman and Lily go to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we have Grandpa trying to find love in the newspaper.
But then it would be beach blanket bingool.
Oh, that's too clever, Keith.
Yeah.
Terry, what'd you think?
Yeah, this is just the classic Munsters, so many missed opportunities that I'd much rather see. I mean, Black Widow killer, sure, that's kind of a funny idea for a grandpa, but I would have loved just to see Grandpa hanging out with a normal person and trying to woo her with his weird vampire ways. Or even, having seen a beach episode would have been nice. I'd love to see the Munsters out in public more often. I feel like we don't see that enough.
Oh, you say that. It'd be even better. Like, what if Marilyn had a friend who had a grandma that was a widower, and then it's a blind date?
Yes, a double date. They could even have Marilyn.
They could have double dated. Yeah. How much better would that have been than this?
Marilyn could have been like, "I'll help you, Grandpa. I'll hang out with you. We'll get you back out there or something like that." Oh man.
I mean, there's 60 more episodes. That actually could be a plot that they eventually do.
I hope so.
I mean, we can't. I don't think we can rule that one out completely. I think that's a good one. Also, I think one of the other issues I have with this is, in watching some Addams Family episodes, there's a similar thing with Fester trying
Uncle Fester.
Yeah. So I did actually enjoy the fact that it wasn't just like, oh, she's normal looking and you know, type thing. That there was this whole like, oh, she's a con woman, and they're gonna try and kill him off and then collect everything and all that stuff. That's about the only plus to this episode, is that they actually didn't go with that same just basic obvious plot of normal people look weird and etc.
But here's the interesting presumption that everything in the house is Grandpa's, and in the last will and testament it would have been left to Lydia.
Oh, she would have owned it all.
Well, but I mean, it's a weird assumption, though, right?
Yeah.
Herman and Lily live there.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff has got to be theirs. The house is rented.
Herman's paying for it. He's scaring up the rent all the time.
Yeah,
that's true.
The house is even theirs.
It's rented from hell. The renter.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
So I don't know what she thought she was going to gain here. I mean, you're better off keeping Grandpa alive, making him invent things that making money.
Like last episode, he was inventing a water into gold machine.
Yeah, he fixed that uranium machine to make gold. He made a robot.
I mean, also, if you think the house is going to be worth something, maybe you shouldn't go and try and tie a bunch of tripwires all over and slather grease all over stuff. The banisters, I'm sure they can't be great for resale value.
Well, I'm sure they could be cleaned up though, Keith. It wasn't like a permanent upgrade.
No, but I mean, I'm thinking like if you go to wipe that off, it probably messes up the.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
But I would say,
and the ground is on fire, stuff like that.
Yeah, the avocado Mickey that caught on fire did more damage to the kitchen. Maybe, I don't know. It was a weird one. I did not enjoy this episode. I did enjoy Lily. Lily was the star of this episode for me. She had a lot of crazy faces and weird, not overacting moments, but moments that were very much overacted, but to the episode, if that makes sense. That whole people are strange or whatever.
a lot of eye bulges.
Yeah, the eye bulges, the sitting up in bed, those things. Great. I loved all that stuff. I loved Herman putting his foot through the floor, then going, "Oh darn!" That was the worst expletive he could think of at the time. That stuff I like. I wish those were more of the things the Munsters did, those weird moments.
Yeah,
they don't do enough of them.
Right, yeah, because Lily never really has done that before, which would be a good gimmick for her, because I don't feel like she has enough of her own little gimmicks,
No.
Besides making breakfast.
Yeah.
Making breakfast, that's her thing.
Give her those weird, dramatic eye-bulging things every once in a while. That'd be great.
That standing there with the candelabra, it's oh, what's that?
Yeah. Yes.
It's oh, you have an enchanting beauty. Thank you. Those things, those were great moments for her. Yeah. And the one for Herman, and the rest was just. And Eddie never showed up again. He's only there for that cold open.
Out chasing around a kid, trying to make friend, trying to catch a friend.
Never saw him again.
Now, real quick though, between this episode and last episode, Herman was right about 2 con artists in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe can they make? Also, that's terrible if you put 2 episodes back to back. They're both con artists.
Yes.
But I don't know. Maybe the rest of the family start giving him some respect now. I mean, he's called it twice now.
That's a good
Him
point.
and Marilyn. Marilyn's a
Yeah.
skeptic. She's like, I don't know about this Uncle Charlie. I don't know about this Lydia. And Herman's not having any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Yeah.
Herman thought she was a con artist. He just didn't like the whole
Like the mail order bride
marrying
thing.
through the paper
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yep.
Wedding via correspondence. Not his thing. So let's say the babysitter was sitting around here because she's off to do. What would have been the thing that broke her?
I think maybe the babysitter, we haven't seen her in a while, obviously,
Yep.
but I think it's because she's been on a case. She's been trying to find. She freelances as a detective in her spare time, and she's been trying to find the mysterious Black Widow killer.
Oh,
And she's found all of these, these like very clever body disposals. You can't really point anybody to anything, and then she finally comes to this final attempt to murder Grandpa, and she just sees the lackluster planning and the horrible, greasy stairs and the skates and the nonsensical nature of it all. And I think it just breaks her. It's like,
That's
this
what
is
breaks
what I came to see? Oh.
that makes sense.
I think she eats some of the avocado Mickey.
Oh, that didn't just break her. It breaks her internally. AKA
Yeah.
kills
Yeah.
her. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my Keith.
Dang.
I think the moment that breaks her is she works, like she's a babysitter at night, right? But during
Yep.
the day, she has an office job. And she happens to work in the office across the hall from Lydia Gardner Industries or whatever, a nonprofit organization. And
Mhm.
she's like, I'm going to go introduce myself to the new people. She knocks on the door, opens it up, and she sees the husband's filing cabinets gone. She hears him say, this will be 5 married in more than 3 months. And then she's like, no one's caught you guys yet? I'm out of here. This is so ridiculous. And then she sees Grandpa Munster's picture as she's filing it away. And it's like, I just can't do it anymore. And that's what breaks her.
She doesn't say anything, but it
Yep.
breaks her
She
mind,
just
yeah.
sees it and it's like, oh, God.
Oh yeah, she didn't bother to turn them in or anything. She's not
No.
the one who ratted out Malcolm.
She's not a rat.
Just, I can't do it. I'm done.
Yeah.
She wouldn't do that.
Snitches get stitches, God damn it.
Yeah,
And
she's not a
just
rat
like,
with wings.
Nope.
She's got heart.
Yeah. She's just like, well, maybe if you kill him, that'll be okay. And she's just like, she's out. I can't deal with this. They're your problem now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that.
Babysitter is broken. Actually, Keith kills her. So, I mean, that avocado Mickey caught on fire. The moment it hit the ground, I don't know. It didn't catch on fire beforehand. I wonder if like the force ignited it.
Yeah. Also, what did she put? Like, what did she put in there that it would ignite when it hit the ground?
I don't know. Maybe it's like C4 or something like that.
Yeah.
Napalm or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, I
The
assume that
avocado
I
Mickey.
assume the cat was eventually going to eat it,
I thought so.
and not die because that cat probably is like it's like the cat from Captain Marvel. They just basically eat everything.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe
You know,
that.
or that Spot would show up and eat part of it or something like that. It
shoot fire
I
out of
was
its mouth.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting something more along those lines.
Now that would have been great. The cat eats it and then shoots fire out of its mouth.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
I
would
just
love to see
Googled
that.
avocado Mickey, and there's lots of avocados with Mickey Mouses in them.
Mhm.
Oh, that's fun. I never thought of that concept
Instead of
before.
the pit, it's a Mickey Mouse. And it's like, yeah.
Great.
Avocado Mickey. That's one of the things Tom Brady eats all the time.
Uh-huh. It
Keeps himself
is.
young.
Keeps me
Mhm.
young. Lots of avocado Mickeys,
Mhm.
lots of almonds, raw almonds. Oh, right. Boy, that was another episode of the Munsters. Classic, just by definition. It's old. Wouldn't call it good. Anyway, Keith, before we head out to another cold, lonely night, what do you got to plug here? What sending people to?
Oh, well, let's see. We are in the home stretch on the episodes of Pro Stars over on That was great, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And we're closing that out, and we got some great guests still coming up for that. And then looking at the calendar now, I think Derek, you and I will probably have to start getting back into the studio for some pop-up filmcast.
Oh Christ! All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. That's it.
That's it. That and I'll be going back through the almanac to find more factoid note sheets for next week.
Factoid note sheets for next week. Excellent. Terry, how about yourself?
I just got another podcast I do called Run the Reel. We talk about movies within like specific categories. We did shark movies a while back. We're going to be doing some Paul Thomas Anderson movies here pretty soon, so that's exciting. So yeah, check it out if you're interested. It's fun.
Excellent. Anyway, I got nothing to plug other than this goddamn show. So tune in next week. And now here we go. This will be. We're going to go 0 for 10. This will be the 10th different ending. I guarantee it. I want it to be that way. So go ahead.
Should we sing?
Sure. Hello.
Hello.
Was it ingenuity?
No, you can't even do hello right, Keith. Hello. Hello.
Is that it?
That's the
Goodbye?
Three Stooges, right? All right. Ingenuity.
Intelligence.
Oh, it's imagination than intelligence. God damn it.
Go, do it one more time. Go ahead.
We got it.
Ingenuity.
Imagination.
And intelligence.
Do not work.
It's always
Hunting
hunting season.
season.
Oh, it is always hunting season. The Munster Hunters are Derek Glascock, Keith Gawla, and Terry Vickroy. Keith is the host of the Pop-Up Filmcast, and that was great, wasn't it? Both shows can be found wherever you subscribe to podcasts. For more about Keith's shows, you can follow Pop-Up Filmcast on Twitter at Pop-Up Filmcast. And that was great, wasn't it? At How Great Was That? You can also follow Keith on Twitter at KG3030. Terry is one of the hosts of Run the Reel. It's a movie podcast that does deep dives on films with a theme. You can follow Run the Reel on Twitter at Run the Reel. You can also follow Terry on Twitter at Terry_Vickroy. If you would like more musings from me, you can follow on Twitter at Derek9 and the word 9. Follow Munster Hunters on Twitter at Munster Hunters and subscribe on your podcatcher of choice for more Munster Hunter fun. Munster Hunters is mixed and edited by me, Derek. All original music is composed and mixed by Terry Vickroy, and executive producers are me and Keith Gawla. The Munster Hunters is a Krispy Dodo production.